Welcome to Unity Talks, where the hiring experts of Dallas-based recruiting firm Unity Search engage in lively discussion with successful business leaders to dissect their careers and how they got to where they are today, the obstacles overcome to reach their success, and steps they've taken to stay at the top of their respective fields. So listen in as we provide you with the thought-provoking conversation and ideas that keep industries moving forward.
And welcome back to another edition of the Unity Talks podcast. I'm your host, David Cathey, and we are so thankful that every other week we bring in a new guest and we hopefully impart some wisdom. I know I get a lot of wisdom imparted on me by our guest, and I always try to take one or two things away, and hopefully you have that same impact. I know you will today, because our guest, his name is Scott Burday. He is the president of Trinity Integrated Solutions, actually introduced to us by a previous guest, Michael Vizentine. Scott, welcome to the show.
Hey, it's a pleasure to be here, David, and glad I could join you.
Yeah, absolutely. Shout out Michael for linking us up. You know, Scott and I have had a couple of conversations. They've gone really, really well, and he's agreed to join us today. And I think you're going to learn a lot from this. So, Scott, I always try to tell our guests, take 2 to 3 minutes. And let's tell our audience, what is Trinity Integrated Solutions? How did y'all come about, and what do you actually do?
Absolutely. So we're going to shorten that. We're going to call it Trinity. Okay. Make it easy on us.
Love it. Love it.
On our audience and everything like that. 27 years ago, me and my business partner had a vision to go out and help companies literally revolutionize the way they do business and help them achieve a new level of excellence. And that's productivity, quality, safety, anything they needed to get to, service, right? And we went out and put down 3 core things that we were going to do and help them do. Number 1 and first was business process improvement. Everybody's struggling. Every company struggles with something. That may be the entire company trying to improve themselves and get to where they really want to be as a company. That could be a department within or an area within a company. Trying to get their quality up or their service up or anything like that. So we're going to help them redefine their business, go out and really understand what they're doing, how they're doing today, and where they wanted to be. Not tomorrow, the next day, but literally in the next 5 years and how they wanted to run their business. And then we were going to develop the software to help them do that. Okay. So not only understand where they want to go, but then help them get there with software. And by bringing that together, holistically, we could help that company get to a whole new level of the way they want to operate.
Yeah.
And believe me, it's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And so for 27 years, I've had the fun of doing that with 570 different clients.
Yeah. Yeah. The past couple of times you and I've talked, I could tell you were pretty passionate about it. It comes out and, you start moving and you got to put I was like, oh boy, trying to keep Scott in one spot, it's going to be tough. Not that you even need to here. So, so one thing that I've picked up a lot, and this is going to be a unique podcast because you're actually going to start leading me a little bit here. But both times I spoke to you about this, the same thing keeps popping into my head, which I got from Stephen Covey's 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, which is begin with the end in mind. Yeah. And you even alluded to it because you said, we want to know where you want to go, not tomorrow, not in a week, but 5 years and further down the line. And then we're going to build this plan to get you there. And then we're going to throw some technology on top of that. So help, maybe we do the little role play. Maybe you help walk us through this.
Okay. So here's the analogy. Have you ever gone into a grocery store and forgot your shopping list?
Probably one too many times, and it's usually in Sprouts. That's the preferred grocery store.
Yeah, love Sprouts. Chicken. Their chicken is the best chicken. Just as a point.
Okay.
We're not trying to advertise for something, but it's starting.
Yeah, this is an unpaid advertisement.
So what happens when you go in? You're like, oh my gosh, especially if you had a recipe to cook. I'm a baker. I love to bake, and recipes are very specific. And if I don't have that list in front of me, I forget what I need to buy. I mean, it's usually too long, or I need a bunch of stuff for dinner tomorrow night, or whatever that is. Okay, so I'm going to take a little analogy there to looking at software solutions. So now I'm going to ask you another question. When you go, let's say you or your company or somebody you're working with says, I need this solution for my business, this application, whatever that is. What's the first thing that you do?
You start Googling it. You start research.
Mhm.
ChatGPT now, I guess,
Yep,
is
absolutely.
replacing Google.
Yeah.
Trying to figure out, make a list of the things that you want the solution to do.
Yeah. Yeah. Most people actually don't make that list. They're actually just looking for, hey, I need this solution. Maybe it's a CRM for their company. Maybe it's project management. Maybe it's something for their operations or their field services or anything like that. And they're looking for that solution that's going to fit.
Mhm.
Well, what they haven't done is the shopping list. Okay. What they haven't done is step back and say, before I engage and start looking, let me better understand for my company that list of what we need in a solution. Because what happens is, as you start to look at these solutions, as you Google it, ChatGPT, and you get these lists of, oh, here's the top CRMs out there, here's the top project management solutions out there, or whatever you're looking for, you start calling them, you start getting on the phone, you start dropping them emails, you get onto their website, you start filling out contact forms. And who's calling you? The sales guys. And they're really good and they know their stuff. But it starts all to look glassy-eyed. And does it really fit my needs? And can I really make my business operate? And you narrow it down to 3 and you invite them in and everything like that. And by the time you're done selecting that solution and building on it, you get to a point where you hit a wall. You've only got 85% of what you need. The last component's not in there. You didn't know that because you didn't bring your list to the table, your shopping list, and say, here's what I need. Here's what my business needs. Can your software do all of these things? And empirically show it to me. Okay, and do that. And when you get to that 85, even 90%, and that last gap is there, what are you going to do? You're going to go look for another solution to fill it.
Yeah.
You're going to pay more potentially for an enhancement if that platform even allows that, right? If that solution allows that. And you sub-optimize, and then you build another solution and have another solution, and you get this tech, what we call a tech stack in some cases, that gets out of control because you didn't make that list up front.
Well, sometimes you don't even know what all you need, right?
Yeah,
You
yeah.
bring in someone.
Yeah.
And their product looks great because they know what to say, they know not what to not say.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you don't know enough to ask that question.
That's correct. Yeah.
Because you have kind of this utopian view, like, okay, fine. And you get, for me, I call it tired head. Like you look at so many things and you're just like, let's just get it and see if it works.
Yeah.
And which is what creates this gap that you're talking about.
Yeah. You get glassy eyed too. That gap and everything. And what you're looking at, oh my gosh, how do I compare this one to this one? But you shouldn't be comparing them against each other. You should be comparing to your needs. So back to your question there, if you start off with the end in mind, the Stephen Covey habit that you mentioned earlier, and build out your requirements, your scope of work, your solution design, that's come by a lot of different names, and really define that with your team up front. And know going in exactly how you want, maybe not exactly, but really understanding how you want to operate your business. Now it's not the tail wagging the dog anymore. It's not that software company. So here's this great looking stuff. And there's a lot of good software out there. I'm not trying to downplay that. But how do you really know what your business it needs? How do you know what you're going to design to? And how do you know that gap? Okay, at that end there, that you don't have to go out now buy something else to fill that gap or pay more now than you ever expected. Okay. So you go out and you figure out there's a process we take even clients through that says, okay, first of all, you go talk to your team about scope.
Yep.
I'm not talking a lot of work here. Get your team together. What's everything you need? Top line, few bullet points under each one. This is a couple pages. This is not rocket science stuff. Okay. Now you've got at least something. Now you take it to the next level. And that's the business process part I mentioned.
Yeah.
What did I start off with? And we start off with this with every client. It's business process. It's not the solution. As a matter of fact, I don't want to talk to them about a solution. I want to talk to them about business process.
Okay.
Okay. How do they want to run their business? What's the gaps today? What's the challenges today? How do we design or around them, not develop, but design from a workflow standpoint around that, right? Talk about that. Talk about bring best practices in. You need a company that can really bring best practices to the table as well too, right? redefine your business processes, the way you want to operate, the way you know it, because your team knows it.
Yep.
Your team, every team out there knows it.
Yep.
Rely on them. Okay, now that you've got that details, now go out and start looking.
Well, you're right. The team knows it.
Yeah.
And you may have a leadership team that relies on, okay, here's our 6 people. But we also don't know what we don't know.
Yes.
So we also, I feel like, would need some type of management consultant-ish person who's playing that role. That may not be what their title is, but that's the role they're going to play to help ask the questions that company doesn't know to either ask.
Yeah.
Like, I try to take our firm, Unity, for example, and I may know what I want, and, we don't have that, but I don't know what all is out there. I don't know. It's kind of like a visionary. Like, I have the vision of where I want to go, but I would be the wrong person to say, yeah, well, this is a good question. This is a good question. This is a good, I need someone to take me by the hand and walk me down this path. And often I feel like people who are not within your organization, because you can kind of get groupthink.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
Someone outside the organization is able to just see it through a different lens.
Yes.
So that's kind of that first step of, I want to understand your business and what you're thinking today. We'll worry about the solution later on. We just need to know where you're at today but where do you want to be?
Yeah. You said the key word there, because the hardest person for us to hire is that person that knows how to ask all those questions. That while you have a vision and some of those questions to ask, typically there's 10, 20, 30, 40 questions on each topic that you haven't asked, that you haven't explored, that you haven't gone down the path on. That as you start those discussions, your team starts to go, yeah, we hadn't thought about it. We need to talk about that on that part. And those people that know those business process people, right, that know how to ask those questions, drive that out of that team in a positive sense. Document that. Go on to the next. Build on that.
Yep.
And you eventually get from that couple of page scope document to anywhere from 20 to, we've seen as many as 80 to 100 page document says, this is how we're going to operate our business. This is how we're going to move forward. This is how we are going to leverage our expertise in whatever industry or whatever process you are. Wow, that's so cool that you just did it and took us through that. Not only ask the right questions, there's 2 things: to ask the right questions and bring best practices to the table. If you've got enough experience behind you and understanding, you say, you know what, we've done that over here before and over here. Here's a couple other ideas. Let's play those off the way you want to work. As a team, drive to the best process for you, which might look like somebody else's, may not, right? Document that. And now, boy, if we could operate that way, we've got a way to the path to double, triple, quadruple our business and just fly.
I love that you said that, because I've often told our teams before, if I am trying to problem solve with my client and it's been documented and our organization is documenting all of the issues they're solving with their clients, I get to steal their ideas because we're all the same team. Like, Jason did this the other day with this client, so I'm going to take that and I'm going to tell my client, this is how we've done this in the past, because even though I wasn't involved, Jason and I are on the same team, and we're documenting that, and we're using the solutions in the aggregate work that we've done with 500 and some odd clients, and we're able to apply that to every single new client, and you're refining your process by doing that each year.
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you know what I'm sort of jumping to the end here, but eventually as you develop, we talked about business processes, as you develop the solution, as people start using that, the best compliment we ever get is where the leadership team of companies then start to, because typically it's the team members working on this. And some leadership steps in at certain times and wants to make sure that they have key principles applied to that. But it all depends on the solution and where this gets applied at. But when people step in and leadership steps in and says, that is the way I always imagined I wanted to run this company. Just like what you defined and now developed for us, we've now got a platform for the future. And it's so cool to see that.
Yeah.
And for people to say, wow,
Yeah.
how'd you do that? How did you get us there? It starts with business process,
Okay.
ends with solution design.
Okay.
Ends with the actual development of the solution.
Okay.
It doesn't start with the solution.
Yep.
Don't go there. I can't.
But we want to.
It's a natural thing. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, that's great. I mean, aren't we wasting time answering some of these questions? Like, just, can you get what we want?
Yeah. Can't you tell me what I want, what I need? Well, I can, but I want it to be for you guys and the way you operate, and get your team members' input and really drive that through your team and own that. Not just define it, but really own that. And they love that. Most clients I say all clients want to own that, want to be different, because
they want to be treated different, because they all want to be treated special, right?
Right.
They want to know that, Scott, I'm your only client, right?
That's true. Yeah. I've got some stories on that one, but
yeah. So
yeah,
it's almost like you're building a sandwich. We're starting here. We're going to put the last slice of bread over here on solution. What are the ham and the lettuce? What does all that look like on your sandwich?
Yeah. So you've got to, everything deals with, we call it excellence in that whole sandwich. Okay. You're choosing the top tier bread, you're choosing the best lettuce out there.
Yeah.
I'll get into the details here in a second, I promise. The best mayonnaise, best ketchup, everything like that. But the way you do that is really sitting down and having sessions with the teams. These are web-based, these are face-to-face. We go on site with a lot of clients that want to accelerate the process, and taking those teams one by one. Sometimes there's definitely a leadership team in here, a core project team that knows the business really well, but they then bring in other team members. And we are building that sandwich. I love your analogy, by the way.
Yeah.
I got to take that one. And
give me credit the first time I use it. Then you can
copyright Unity Talks, David Cathey. And really defining each of those segments of the business that are going to start using this, and taking ownership in it and saying, I did that. I built that part of the sandwich, right? Okay. And once we have that and see that, we then take that and say, let's go for that. Let's design that. So the next step becomes solution development, the actual development of that solution that's going to run the business for them, that they're going to use to run the business, not going to run the business, right? So here's an interesting way we do it, which is typically different than anybody else out there, okay? And that is, we iterate through the process. We develop small components of it and have the team not only test it, but provide feedback and a cycle through that. Because we only expect, believe it or not, to hit 80 to 90% of it. And we want that feedback at each stage to say, boy, that looks great, but can we also do this? Can we add this? We missed this little piece, or could you change this around? And we actually, our platforms, and we'll talk about those in a second, allow us to do that. And that iterative process and that interaction with clients to tone it, to get near that 100%, just for that component, and then the next component, and the next, is such a fun process for clients that they've never been involved in. Most are like, from a what I'll call traditional IT process. Here's your solution, we'll fix the bugs, but this is what you defined right there. No. Help us.
You're going through it with them piece by piece.
Yeah.
It's funny, today's going to be the day of analogies.
Yeah.
You were just doing that. Have you been to IKEA?
Yes.
And
absolutely.
built anything from IKEA?
Oh, absolutely.
Every once in a while you get something from IKEA. I've built way too much stuff from IKEA and probably thrown a lot of things too. And it's like every tool or every part should be used, and then you get done and you realize there's 5 or 6 things left over. And what you're saying is, no, we're going to go maybe not slower, but for the sake of this, we're going to go slowly through this with you, Mr. Client, piece by piece, because if this one part or component of building this bed or chest of drawers doesn't fit, we need to modify right then, instead of having this whole thing built and having 5 extra parts left over.
Right.
And then you've got a real clunky, engineered platform that you're having to work off of.
Yeah. And we allowed them to give us that. We want that feedback. We want that interaction at each stage of the project, that we know at the end point there, they have had not only input in the business process, but input into the design and development of this. And adding, oh, we missed a field. Now, typically, hopefully, you're not going to miss major processes along the way. Oops. And it has happened. We forgot to discuss this with you during the business process, and we figure out a way to get that in there, and we have to step back sometimes a little bit. But that component of that process, whatever, again, I'm trying to generalize here. We want that input. We want that feedback. We want that cycle. It's so much, and it's not. It doesn't take long to change these things. It's actually very quick and fast for us to do that.
Okay.
And you iterate to that, and then you do. And here's the cool thing. So you're iterating through different processes. You're having them test different pieces, and then it's time for what we call end-to-end testing. And they're like, yeah, we got it, because we've been testing as we go all along here, a little bit every week, literally, and not a lot, half hour. This is not a huge time sink. And now it's time to end. And they're like, okay, we got it. Why? Because we've taken them through the whole thing. They've understood it. They've had input to it, right? They've worked through it. We've made some changes as we go. End-to-end testing is pretty darn smooth usually. A few tweaks there still too. That happens. Missed something here, tried this here. Oh, didn't test this right here. Let's do a little bit here. And then you're good to go, man. It's such a cool thing.
When I'm going to go back to the very beginning. You had said, have you ever been in this situation? And what comes to my mind is, different tools that we look at. And it's like, this is kind of clunky, but we need this value. This is kind of clunky, tool B, but we need this thing. How do we get them to speak to each other?
Sure.
And what I'm hearing you say, this is for the non-technical layman listener, and I am incredibly non-technical. You're going to go through and create a solution that creates one thing that you bought that's clunky, and section B that you bought that's clunky, and your solution says it takes the clunkiness out of A, B, and integrates them. And it's all smooth now.
That's correct. And if you have to keep B for some reason, sometimes it's a legacy solution. Like, we'd love to bring A and B together into new C, right? That's smooth, that's consistent, that's totally integrated, that's, but if you have to keep something out there, maybe it's a C that's a legacy solution, it's still got to run. We want to integrate with that so that nobody's keying in over here and keying in over here. These are disconnected. So
that's good
part
too.
of we have three legs at Trinity, business process, application development. We've been talking about that. And the third one's integration.
Okay.
Because there's always something out there that's going to stick around, and we want to integrate with that so it's a seamless process for the client.
So we have a lot of listeners, and it's just a wide variety of industry. Our clients can be in any industry. The only industry that we don't really focus on is banking, because I feel like banking is an animal of itself, and there are recruiters that specialize in banking. But outside of that, for our listeners, who a lot of them are our clients or our candidates, they work in any industry, and they work in any size of company. So as I'm listening to you talk, and you led off with, it could be a company, it could be a department of a company. And so that makes me think, all right, so what is the target audience? Is it 25 million? Is it 2 billion? Is it somewhere in there? Is it a certain industry? Does every industry use someone like Trinity? Can you talk us through how all that works?
Sure. So when we get inquiries, people are typically looking for a software solution, and it's either a company because they want to take it to the next level. They're working off spreadsheets.
Okay.
And I just can't go any further. I can't expand any further. I need a solution. Or it's a department within a large company that's got something they need. Maybe it's a field service solution or something that they're struggling with, and it's paper-based, or they're having people call in or something like that. And it doesn't matter to us where that is. Company level, department, across, one area that's maybe it'll touch everybody, but it's not company wide.
logistics, marketing,
Yeah.
back office, all that. It doesn't even, you don't really care about that.
No, we don't. No. It's those that need help getting to the next level, and to taking things they know are inefficient and moving them to the next level. And typically when you start working with a department within a company, and you were talking about size, we have clients that, our smallest client's a bail bonds client in Florida. So if you ever get thrown in jail, I got the, in Florida, I know who you can call, just as a point.
I think I'm covered, but
4 people up to companies literally that have tens of thousands of users. They're, multi-billion dollar companies. And it may be a department, and we're solving for that. And they're going, hey, look, guys, over here, what they just did for us, they can do the same thing for you. And you start working across multiple departments, and each of them needs something. Everybody needs something. And it's such a cool thing to watch that happen.
Wow.
As that expands, because we always joke, that customer's with us for life because of the way the process goes, and they come back. So we're servicing all of these different clients on this, not only for their new development, but for enhancements, because the best companies out there, this is important, do continuous improvement on these applications. A lot of people think applications are one and done. I buy it, I install it, I'm good, I run with it, or I may be at 85%, but at least I got 85%. Ours are not. Anything we build, that is you're going to continue to make a continuous investment, continuous improvement to that solution over time. We've got apps out there that are 8, 10, 12 years old, look brand new.
Really?
Those clients have reinvested over time to new business processes, new departments, new teams, new business entity they're within, whatever that is, and that they can continue to improve that over time. And their teams, they know if they set up a feedback loop from their team members, they're going to get them in there and see those, we can make this enhancement and this, let's queue this one up, let's prioritize this. It's really a neat thing once they learn this and understand.
Man, it's funny, Scott, because it's a lot. And, not doing what you do and not being a technology guy. And you're not even, you're talking about technology, but you're not.
Yeah. And I don't want to. Yeah.
And,
I don't. Yeah.
And so, which is really cool that you're able to, I could do this, but I can talk the business with you, which is a unique skill set, because typically when you're somewhat techie, it's like, it's hard to integrate with let's just talk business and not talk coding.
Yeah.
And so as we're wrapping up, you've mentioned this a couple times before to me, that you're able to operate, your organization does this in a no code or a low code environment. And so I think for our listeners, we've painted a pretty good picture. It's like, it doesn't really matter the size of the company. It doesn't matter what industry or field or department does.
Yeah.
It's just if they have a problem, and you're able to come in and assess like a management consultant. You begin with the end in mind, you find out where you're going to go, and you take them through the full life cycle, soup to nuts here. And you're doing it in a no code, low code environment. So that was new to me to learn. I'm still not quite sure, but it was new to me. So what does that mean to a listener?
So I'll speak directly to our listeners on this one, right?
That'd be great.
Have you ever gotten exactly what you wanted in a software solution? No. You see?
I know you were talking to them, but I'm answering.
No. We develop for our clients on something called no code and low code platforms. Look it up. Do your ChatGPT, right? And I can commit to you, like I have to 570 other clients, that we can deliver exactly what you need with zero compromise. You will not hear that very often.
Wow.
Okay. And it's and this is not something new. My company's been on these platforms. My company's been around 27 years. We've been on no code for 23 years and low code for over 3 years, right? And the right platform we can talk about, again, it's secondary to the process. But have you ever had anybody tell you you can get zero compromise to what you need? You don't get that off very often.
No.
And again, this is the platform itself. This is the technology platform that we're building on. We're building your solution on, right?
Yeah.
And it's so cool to be able to do that with clients and say, okay, here is your 30-page or 35-page set of requirements and business process and solution design. Okay, no problem. Let's there's a cost.
Yeah.
We'll deliver exactly that. That's it.
Yeah. Make it sound so simple.
It is. I don't want to get into the technology behind it because the first part's so important. Yeah. Don't go in to this without your shopping list.
Okay, so
back to the beginning.
Exactly. So we're going to end on that. So tomorrow, I listen to this or I watch this whenever this comes out, and I'm like, man, this is really interesting. So do I just gather with my leadership team and what is that question I'm asking them?
Yeah.
What is how do I start the meeting with them to start the list?
Yeah. And it is not a technology question. It's a business process question. What do we want? How do we want to operate our business? Okay. There's no word technology or application. What app do we need? What do we need? In this area, whatever we're focusing on, whether it's the whole business, which is possible, right? Which we do all the time. We bring companies from the 19th century to the 21st century. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of them out there. It's amazing. They're still operating on paper, spreadsheets, things like that. Okay. Or even from 20th century to the 21st. But talk about what you want to do, how you want to operate your business, and just start. And again, remember I said the scope document, the initial.
Yep.
This isn't rocket science stuff. This is a couple pages of here's the top line stuff, maybe 3 pages of here's how we want to operate our business. And then find somebody, Trinity, whoever, that can help you through that and ask all the right questions and drive to what will eventually be the future way you're going to operate your business.
I love that. That is such a great ending right there. The future way you're going to operate your business. Yeah. Scott, thank you so much for being on our show. I wish we had more time. I mean, I feel like we were just getting started.
Absolutely.
It goes by so fast. It's amazing. Yeah. So thank you so much for spending your time with us today.
My pleasure, David. Thank you for having me here.
For our listeners, I'm sitting there kind of doing this inventory in my head of, what are the things that Unity could be doing better? Or how do I drive more efficiencies? Because I feel like today, I've said this probably for the last 3 years on this show, and I'll probably say it for the next 5 or 6 years on this show, however long this show is going. We're trying to do more with less. We're trying to do more things, accomplish more stuff for our business, I feel like with less people. And that can get really hard. So you're looking for edges, you're looking for efficiencies. And everything that I heard Scott tell us today is about creating that edge and creating that efficiency so that you can land 5 years exactly where you want to land and not miss that mark. So hopefully that was effective for you and you learned a thing or two, and we will see you next time on the Unity Talk Show.
If you're looking for the next step in your career or the missing piece for your team, Unity Search has you covered. Whether it's finance and accounting, tax services, information technology, or human resources, Unity Search is here for you with experienced and dedicated hiring professionals. Reach out today and take the next step. Unity Search, placing you first.